In this video, I'm going to rank every single Halloween POI in Fortnite history from worst to best. This is every named location in Fortnite history that either was added during a Fortnitemares event or has something to do with, being spooky, like having zombies, right? And I'll explain that a little bit more deeper in this video. Quick note here, these have to be completely Halloween or spooky themed locations, right? So Greasy Grove with a couple of spider webs and pumpkins won't be considered a Halloween location. So I just want to make that clear here. And finally, we're talking about regular BR locations. Only none from Reload or Blitz will be on this list today. If you do go on to enjoy this video, as always, consider leaving it a like using code TYFRYZ in the Fortnite item shop to help support the channel. And let's get into another Halloween ranking video. Alright, at number 13 is going to be Haunted Hills. Yes, again, I know it's not a true Halloween named location, right? It didn't come with a Fortnitemares event, but there's no way that I could possibly make a Halloween named locations video and not include a spooky one like Haunted Hills. Unfortunately, it wouldn't really have made a difference if I didn't include it on this list because Haunted Hills is really bad. You've got a couple of chests, that's it. Right on the edge of the map. The only benefit here is how close you are to Pleasant Park, right? So the actual benefit of Haunted Hills doesn't even come from this location, right? It comes from another one. At number 12 is Pumpkin Pass from Chapter 6's Fortnitemares event, the one that we're currently in. And you know what? It's a beautiful looking location. I love how they redid this for Fortnitemares, but at the end of the day, it's just a bridge. Like, this doesn't even need to be a named location. It's not like you've got any, buildings up in here. You've got a few chests up top, a few chests down below. I believe you do have a, Scream phone booth that can give you the last call, which is good. Again, this is a named location that, let's be real, probably shouldn't even be named. It should just be like a landmark on the map, but honestly, I would rather land at Pumpkin Pass than Haunted Hills. At number 11 is Zombie Retail Row from Season X, and you thought I was going to forget this one, but I didn't. This is one of the Rift Zones from Season X, in my opinion, one of the worst Rift Zones we got. I mean, think about it, right? Rift Zones were pretty good. I mean, you had Gotham City, Tilted Town, Pandora, but then you had a couple of bad ones, like Taco Time, Greasy Grove, and like Zombie Retail Row, as well as Moisty Palms. At the end of the day, it's not any lower because it is still Retail Row, right? Like, it has a ton of chests in a pretty close proximity to each other and a good location, but they're zombies. I hate zombies so much. If I wanted to fight zombies, I don't know. I hate zombies so much, right? Like, I don't want to fight zombies. Retail Row is one of my favorite locations in Fortnite history, and I didn't land here for the entirety of the time that this Rift Zone was in the game because I hate zombies so much. I'm not here to play PvE, right? Like, I'm here to play against other players. If I wanted to shoot zombies, I would go play Save the World. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, honestly, I'm just not the biggest fan of this one. At number 10 is Gourdy Gate. This is another new one from Fortnitemares 2025, and again, it's just a basically re-themed Foxy Floodgate, which was a POI that I was never really a big fan of. I mean, it looks beautiful, right? Again, you'll see that be a common trend with especially the new Fortnitemares locations. They all look stunning. My problem with this location is I don't like how vertical it plays, right? Like, I don't like fighting here. It feels weird. There's a lot of like weird rat spots where people can just hide around corners. It's too vertical, right? Like, it's too up and down rather than being, side to side like really any other Fortnite location. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it does have a great physical location on the map. At number 9 is Grim Gables. Now, you might have thought Grim Gables would place a little bit lower on this list, but it has one huge benefit, and that's the fact that it spawns a boss, which means it also gets a mythic weapon. Now, let's be real, that mythic weapon isn't really that good. That's the Inquisitor's Mythic Suppress SMG. And at the end of the day, right, you're probably going to Grim Gables to try and get this weapon, right? Like, other than like the kind of spooky atmosphere, which, by the way, it is one of the spookiest locations of all time. It's actually pretty scary to go through that mansion. I just don't really know why you would drop here if you're not going for the mythic, because it's not like it's got a ton of chests. At least for me, Chapter 3 Fortnitemares was kind of a big miss. If you want to know what I think more about that Fortnitemares event, lucky for you, I've actually ranked every single Fortnitemares event, so go check that one out if you just can't get enough TYFRYZ Halloween content. At number 8 is Brawlers Patch. This was the kind of remade version of Brawlers Battleground that was Ares' location in Fortnitemares 2024, but they actually removed Ares as well, right? You actually got the Ultima Carver boss, and unfortunately, I actually think this location was just worse than just the original Brawlers Battleground, right? I mean, you lose the medallion, you lose the mythic. Again, this location looks beautiful, right? But we're not really talking about the looks here. And in terms of actual gameplay, the reason why I didn't like this location too much is because they added these vines that you could, kind of grind on top of the location. And it meant that you were always getting shot from above. It was so annoying. With that being said, I do hold a special place in my heart for Brawlers Battleground. It was one of my favorite locations in Chapter 5 Season 2. So that's why it's a little bit higher up on this list than you might have expected. A little bit of bias here, but still, you know what, a decent location. We're still not into like the really good locations yet though. At number 7 is Creepy Camps. This is Jason Voorhees' location from our current Four Nightmares event, and this location is kind of pending what happens with the Voorhees medallion. It has been in the files, and as of recording this video, it is not in the game, but the Jason boss is in the game, and he has so much HP. He might have the most HP from any boss I've ever seen. I mean, you will just mag dump into this guy, and all he drops is a mythic wood stake shotgun, literally one of the worst weapons I've ever seen. So I would say, you know, you're coming here to fight the boss, but you're really not, right? Because the boss is very hard to take down, one of the hardest bosses to take down ever, and you're not rewarded whatsoever, and he doesn't drop the medallion that I feel like it makes sense for him to do so. With that being said though, I like how kind of small this location is, like how tight-knit it is together, how easy it is to loot the chests. It kind of gives me that like old Lonely Lodge vibes, and it gets bonus points for obviously being modeled after a real-life location, or at least a real-life movie location, I should say. And number 6 is going to be the Ruins from Chapter 2, Season 4's Midas's Revenge Fort Nightmares event. The Ruins were exactly what it says it is. It's the ruins of what was the agency and the authority, right? The authority was Chapter 2, Season 3. Now, I don't think the Ruins was like an especially good location. I mean, yeah, you had a lot of chests, but everything was broken down. The build grid was all weird. There were a lot of exposed angles, but you were literally in the center point of the map. So you would see people just land here, get a couple chests, and then rotate to Salty or Retail or wherever. And you've got to remember, when this was in the game, if you died, you come back as a zombie as well. So this place was a true zombie-infested wasteland. I also want to give an honorable mention to the Convergence, which was a location that was added in Chapter 2, Season 8's Four Nightmares event, but it's not Halloween-themed whatsoever, like literally at all. So I didn't want to include it on this list, but since it was added during a Four Nightmares event, I want to give it an honorable mention. And number 5 is Viney Shafts. I'm telling you guys, they are out of control. This is a, you know, Halloweenified version of Shiny Shafts from Chapter 6. I think it's a very good location. You've got a lot of chests. I will say they are kind of placed in weird spots. I don't know if that's just me that feels that way, but this is a pretty big location, right? So if you land here in a trio or a squad, you're going to have no problem all coming out with good loot, and you're in a decent part of the map. I'm not going to say a great part, but decent. And of course, it goes without saying, these Chapter 6 Halloween-themed locations are absolutely stunning. Like, I cannot emphasize that enough. I never liked the look of the Chapter 6 map, especially with the bugs on it this season, but the fact that they totally erased all that and basically like made the entire map Halloween themed, it just looks stunning. And number 4 is Freaky Fields. Of course, you knew it was going to be on this list, but this is the first iteration of Freaky Fields from Chapter 5, Season 4. Look, besides it being a troll that it's obviously Freaky Fields, it's just so funny. It's a pretty good location, right? Fortnite tends to do a pretty good job with their farm locations, right? They have a good history of it. Frenzy Farm, Fatal Fields, Anarchy Acres, right? Like, they're all pretty good locations, and I think the same goes here. Now, with this version, you have the TV inside that you can interact with, and you can actually get Billy Bombs from it. Fortunately, I don't think Billy Bombs are like that great. And honestly, I think it's just beaten out by the new version of Freaky Fields at my number 3 spot. Say that's Freaky Fields 2.0, Chapter 6's version. They are so incredibly similar. And the only reason why the Chapter 6 version is ahead of the Chapter 5 version is because there is the potential for Doja Cat to spawn here. And when a boss spawns here, you get all that comes with it, right? That's mythic items, that's good loot. Of course, this one is up to personal preference. If you like the Chapter 5 version better, fine. I personally like the Chapter 6 version. Again, just my opinion here. All right, number 2 is going to be the Underworld. Now, really what I should have done for this spot is I should have split it into 2 spots, because you had the Underworld with Hades, of course, and while that's not a direct Halloween location, it's definitely spooky. And if you think about the real life implications of what the Underworld actually is, it's even more spooky. But then with the Chapter 5 Four Nightmares event, they actually kind of changed the Underworld a little bit, and you actually had Mephisto, who turned the water all red instead of green. It's a really, really cool looking location. The Underworld is absolutely huge. Honestly, it might even be too big. So many chests, great location on the map. I mean, being able to just jump in the river and have those 3 dashes is great when you have it, but it makes for some kind of annoying gunfights. I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, right? But the Underworld, I think, was easily probably the 2nd or 3rd best location on the Chapter 5 Season 2 map. And so it shouldn't be a surprise it is this high up on the list. But let's get into another Chapter 5 Season 2 location at the number 1 spot today. At number 1, guys, my best Halloween location in Fortnite history is Gourdy Gate. Again, it's the same thing as the Underworld. You know, you got a location that isn't technically a Halloween or Fortnitemares themed location, but it is very, very spooky. And definitely, I thought if I'm going to include Haunted Hills, I've got to include Grim Gate. Again, you also had the water turn red during the Fortnitemares event. And the thing with Grim Gate is, yeah, I mean, it's an okay location, but you're not dropping here for your regular chest. You're dropping here to take down Cerberus and get a top 5 Fortnite weapon of all time, the best shotgun of all time. That's Cerberus's Gatekeeper shotgun, as well as his aspect of agility medallion, which is easily a top 5 medallion of all time. So at the end of the day, this location could have been whatever it wanted to be. It could have 4 chests, it could have 20 chests, it could have 100 chests. If you give a location one of the best mythic weapons of all time paired with one of the best medallions of all time, which doesn't even take up an inventory slot, it's going to be a good location, right? So I know this one might be a little bit of a cheap pick here, but if I was going to include it on this list, it was definitely going to be at the number 1 spot. Alright folks, please let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this ranking, and let me know if there's any locations you thought that should have been on here that didn't. You know, I was thinking about the Chapter 3 Season 4 reality tree, right? Because you had the, ritual that you had to do there to get the Howler Claws, but it wasn't always at that location. And then in Chapter 2 Season 1, you had the middle of the island changed to like this wasteland, but that wasn't actually changed to a name location. It was just changed to a landmark, so it didn't qualify to be on this list. Again, if there's anything I forget, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace.